Hello, everyone. This is Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur, and it is Thursday, so that means it's Soul to Soul with Ruby and James. Yeah, I gotta make sure my afro right. You gotta pick and pat. But as I am waiting for James, for those that don't know me, I am Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur, author of the Goddess Grind book series, which focuses on you becoming the best version of you in order to manifest success personally and professionally. Hello, James. I'm sending you your request now. So, hey, Sandra. Thank you for tuning in. Real quick, for everybody that catches this on replay, make sure you comment your name, where you're watching from, so we can thank you for tuning in. Hey, James. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing today, Ruby?
I am doing well. My voice is back. Ain't sick no more. So I'm good. So
Good stuff.
everybody
Stuff.
again, huh?
No, I was saying good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes, yes. But this is Soul to Soul Thursday with Ruby and James, and tonight we will be discussing growing apart. And when we say growing apart, we are speaking in reference to relationships, not just romantic relationships, not just platonic relationships, but relationships in general. Could be personal, could be professional, but growing apart is a real thing. But like I was saying, I'm Ruby D, the Goddess Entrepreneur. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, chakra expert. Um, Internet radio personality, full-time entrepreneur, business owner. That's who James.
Say it again. You cutting out.
I need you to introduce yourself, sir.
I'm James Cotton, also known as Soulful Archer, um, lifestyle coach, soon to be author, motivator, philosopher. That's me. Keep it simple. So I'm a little out of it because I just finished my workout, so I'm a little.
Oh, that's all
Yeah.
right. Workout, it gets your heart rate up, it gets the blood flowing, and you think. But anyway, like I said, this is Soul to Soul, and James and I will be discussing growing apart. Um, the reason I wanted to discuss this topic is because I remember not too many years ago, but I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and the topic came up of how do people grow apart? What do you mean growing apart? People can't grow apart. I mean, how does that work? And honestly, the answer is yes, you can grow apart from one person. Honestly, we spend our whole life growing. We're never going to be the same. We're forever changing. And some people don't change in the same direction. They change in separate directions or in different directions. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we're going to be talking more about that. James, what do you think about that particular topic?
I mean, it's a pretty important topic because I've known quite a few people that have had that issue where they have grown apart from the person that they're in a relationship with or the marriage in. And it's
Hmm.
like it's shocking to them because because they're expecting the person that they chose to want to do the things that they want to do years later. And it's like you do realize people change over time.
Right.
The person that you met when you were 18 or 20 or even 30 is not going to be the same person at the age of 40, hopefully. So to
Hmm.
change, your mindset will change, your interests will change, what motivates you will change also. And when you don't have that foundation in place and you don't have that friendship in place or communication in place, that's pretty much how you end up growing apart. Because one
Right.
person will start going in one direction and the other person is starting to go in the other direction, but they're not talking to each other direction that they're going in. And then it's like
Right.
years later, you wake up one day and realize, hey, I want to start a business. And then the other person's like, I don't want to start no business. I'm good where I'm at.
Right.
I like my job. I don't want to do all that. And then the person that
Hmm.
wanted to start the business is now mad because the other person don't want to do anything. So then it's just like, well, who are you? It's like the same person. Well, it's a different person than the one you married. But
Mm-hmm.
since you didn't have that conversation while that was going on, you kind of feel like you were caught off guard. So yeah, it's a real
Right.
thing that happens quite frequently. So sadly,
Exactly. And just like you did mention, which I'm an advocate for effective communication. I know you talk about effective communication, but effective communication in any relationship is important. If, for one, we have to actively at some particular point in time in the relationship, we're not just, this just doesn't apply to personal relationships. It can be any relationship, a friendship, a business
right,
relationship, a partnership, whatever. But at some point in time, if you notice that the person is different, or their patterns change, or their habits are starting to change, or you get any type of indication that something is different, then it's your responsibility to ask what's going on. Now, true enough, if they don't want to answer, they don't have to. You can't force them to give you an answer. But at the same time, your responsibility is to, you know, ask them about, well, I noticed this changed a little bit. Well, what's going on?
right,
Because pretty much if you never say anything, you never open your mouth, then it's almost like you're saying, well, I don't care. It doesn't
pretty much.
bother me. Um, Mahani, oh, thank you everybody for tuning in. Mahani says when one person see the other person growing, you have to grow too. It don't just don't sit there. Exactly. It's just like people, I'm not sure if you all have heard me refer to a comfort zone as a coping zone. But the reason I say a comfort zone is a coping zone is because the comfort zone is where you go when you are afraid of change, when you don't want to grow, when you don't want to move outside of that box that you've put yourself in, or or that you've put your relationship in. And it's just like, in a sense, it's kind of foolish to think that the way the relationship started and who you started the relationship with is going to be like that for the rest of the duration of that particular relationship. No, you change from day to day. We out here hollering, I want to be better than I was yesterday. Well, you being better than you were yesterday includes you being a different person, includes you growing in some way. And that's just how the relationship is going to work. Oh, thank you, Eartha, for the compliment on my afro. Thank you, girl. Thank you. She says deception from my husband who was cheating. Oh, well, that's definitely when you start asking questions. She said I was asking for communication, which she didn't want, which she did after 2 years. Exactly. Like I said, it was definitely your responsibility to ask the question, and you did. And from his, you know, lack of wanting to give you an answer or give you a proper explanation, then that led to him changing that led to the dynamic of the relationship changing. And right, not all people want to grow. Hey, Latasha, thank you all for tuning in. This is Soul to Soul with Ruby and James, and we are discussing growing apart. So, James, I know I was talking about the effective communication and the comfort zone, basically just being a coping zone where you pretty much that's just where you're learning to cope with whatever current situation you're in. That's where you retreat to. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you either chime in on that or any other comments that we received so far.
I mean, what Eartha said was really important. That not everybody wants to grow. Not everyone wants to change. Some people just want things to stay the way it is forever, or as long as they possibly can. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like where I'm at with things in regards to I welcome change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of it. I just deal with it as it comes because I no longer want to be the same person I was last year or last month actually, or even last
Right.
week. I want to feel like I'm constantly growing on a daily basis, becoming a better person through my choices and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've lived a good part of my life being stagnant and complacent with the bare minimum, thinking that I was getting over. And although I thought I was getting over, I was just messing myself up, really. So now
Mm-hmm.
it's like I can't do that anymore. I look forward to change. I look forward to growing. I look forward to maturing and changing what I used to do and having better habits for myself instead of keeping on with the same thing, hoping that
Hmm.
things stay the same. So, and definitely, that's correct in that can happen. The growing apart can happen in any relationship, not just romantic relationships with your family, friends,
Hmm.
even your children. You know, if you don't keep that line of communication open, you can grow apart from them. Yeah, you know, and it's just like I always say, like love is a garden. You have to
Hmm.
prune your garden every day so that on the weekend it looks nice. If you don't prune your
Right.
garden every day, the bugs will get to it. It won't get no water. It'll be all eaten up. But that's the way love is between, two people. You have to work at
Hmm.
that love every day. A lot of people don't want to work. They just want the love of their life and they just want to put their feet up on the couch and just be happy because they found the love of their life. But they forget they still got to work hard to keep the love of their life, to keep the love going.
Hmm. Right.
Especially how a lot of people seem to think that, once you found love, and it's true love, it's never going to go away. It's going to be for always and forever. And that's not the case. That never was the case. You always have to show love. You always have to work on the love between two people. It's
Right.
not, even if the love that you have for a friend, you still have to work at that, or a family member. You know what I mean? It's not just
Right.
something that happens and it just stays the same. That's not the case. It's like anything else, it changes. So,
Exactly. And one thing that we do have to consider that with people changing or people not wanting to change, that is completely their decision. There's nothing that you can do that can convince them otherwise. It's not your responsibility to convince them otherwise. It's not your responsibility to try and make them stick around when they don't want to be there. Because at
yeah.
some point, you become the selfish one. And if that's not you, then definitely don't go down that road. But thank you all for tuning in to Soul with Ruby and James. We are discussing growing apart. Now, James did mention, oh, we had a few comments. Wait a minute. Eartha says immaturity will stop growth. It absolutely will. And then Shanice says situations can cause separation. A friend and I have grown apart due to depression. Exactly. Sometimes it's not all about the person not wanting to grow. It can just be that life happens. You never know what
Yeah.
their situation is. And some of us, want to hold them, well, let me not say hold them anything, but some of us want to be mean when we know good and well that they have a whole life that they have to take care of. And then people get the attitude, how dare you not reach out to me? How dare you switch it up on me? How dare you start acting funny? How dare you start acting brand new? you know, um, those things that we say. And it's just like, you do realize I have a whole life, right? I have
Right.
a whole family. I have a whole job. I have things that happen that have absolutely nothing to do with you. But then at the same time, it's just like we have to also understand that some people are going to come at us like that. It's okay if they come at us like that. We just have to know how we want to respond to them. We can either respond one way or another, but we do have to realize that it is human behavior for us to want people to stay the same and not change and not grow to some extent because we fear that our relationship is going to change or the dynamic of our relationship is going to change. Now, James also did mention that it just doesn't apply to romantic relationships, and it doesn't. Some of us work with people, and it's just like, yeah, y'all start this job together. Y'all been working together for so long. Y'all go to lunch every day. Y'all hang out and all this other kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it changes. You start realizing that you two are not having the same types of conversations that you were having. You start realizing that you two don't talk as much as you used to. And it's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You don't have the same relationship that you had with your supervisor once you started there. You don't even like the job the same way that you used to like it. But that's just because relationships change, you grow apart. And as you become a better person, or, start focusing on becoming a better person, the things that you used to need or things that you used to feel like you want starts to change. Your needs become different. The things that you want changes. And I just want to say, James, I'm so glad we've been on the live this long without you. But you get what I'm saying. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you chime in on that.
Don't say it. Don't jinx it. I think I finally figured it out, so don't jinx it.
Okay,
but
but go ahead and chime in on that part of the conversation.
you pretty much said it all. Honestly, I mean, that's what I was gonna say anyway. I feel the same
Hmm.
way in regards to that. Know, I've had a heart attack. You know what I mean? So that made
Yeah.
me have to reevaluate things, and I had to do my little separation from folks, and I've had other personal issues that I've had to deal with, over the last couple of years, you know, and it wasn't nothing personal. It's just what I was going through. You know,
Hmm.
that was part of my process of finding myself, and in doing that, made me to grow as a person.
Right.
Whereas now I can't stay on the same level as someone else, because I have to move forward in life. I can't stay the same. I can't be complacent. Some people are complacent where they're at in life, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking them for being okay where they're at. I just can't
Hmm.
be okay where I'm at.
Hmm.
And that means we can't hang out anymore because we're not on the same page. Then that's just what it means.
Right.
Like I see people all the time, all they want to do is, work all week long just so they can hang out in a club on the weekends or get lit, as they like to say, and get drunk and smoke and all this other stuff to kind of release from the week and stuff like that. That's not, I don't do any of that stuff. That's just
Right.
not where I'm at in life. You know what I mean? And I don't knock anybody that wants to do that, but that's just not me. You
Hmm.
know, so that's my own growth. In changing, how I do things and my desire to even want to do that stuff, or even to deal with people, you know, the way they deal with things. It's just different. So in that respect, you can't help but to grow apart because
Exactly.
everybody who is your friend, so you think, is not supposed to go with you in life through every change. Like
Exactly.
they say, there's a season for everything. Some friendships may last 20 years and all of a sudden disappear. Then they also may rekindle later on. But, we can't become attached to that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because everybody has to walk their own path in life. Everybody has to grow at their own pace. As
Right.
much as you may want someone to grow with you, that may not be the case. So then you got to figure out what you're going to do. Because see, the thing I'm not going to do is stunt my growth because you're not ready. That's
That
what I'm
part.
not going to do. I'm gonna leave you behind.
That part.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, everybody can't go with you when you start growing. So
Right.
you have to make that decision for yourself. What you gonna do? What's in your best interest?
Hmm.
You only got one life to live, and it's a short one. So,
You're absolutely correct. And I know that one thing that we really want to do when it comes to romantic relationships, and I'm saying that because I'm talking about, romantic relationships and marriages specifically, is that we get to the point where we recognize the change, but we don't want to come to terms with it. We want to act as if, oh, it's just a phase, or it's just temporary, or um, it's not gonna last long, and then we want to pretend like what's really happening is not, what's really happening. And it's just like I find that we can bring so much more of the mental and the emotional healthiness of ourselves when we just want to hold on to what it was instead of focusing on what it is, or realizing that what it is and accepting what it is. And if for some reason you don't like what it is because you two have grown apart, it's just like on to something when this person clearly no longer wants to hold on to this. They've grown in a direction where they just ready to go, and then you still trying to hold on and not realizing that you're making the wedge between you two bigger, or it's going deeper, and it's just like you eventually get to the point where you can't even save the relationship. You look like, well, I don't want to say crazy, but it's just like, why is this girl not getting it, or why is this guy not getting it? And I know that, of course, the because there is a dynamic between men and women, we process growing apart differently. Like for instance, with myself, for example, in past relationships, um, I've always been a very emotional and a very intuitive type person, and I'm an observer. And anytime I paid attention to the relationship. I paid attention to, everything. And when it got to the point where I was noticing things were starting to change, I'm straight up. I'm like, look, tell me what's going on, because this, and this is not the same. This is, changed up. And it's not like I'm coming at you with an attitude or anything, but it's pretty much, I noticed the difference. And if you want to go in a different direction, if you want to go left when I go right, that's completely fine. The only thing that I'm asking for this particular point is honesty. And I know for me, it was more so me picking up on it emotionally and intuitively. For men, I don't know how that works, but how do you pick up when there's some changes, or there are some changes in her and how she acts, or in the relationship itself?
I mean, that depends on your connection to the person that you're in a relationship with.
Mhm.
If you're not really connected, if the level of intimacy is not in place, if the friendship is not in place, if there's no foundation in place, then you're not going to notice anything because you're
Mhm.
just going through the motions. So, unless you fully vested in the relationship and you've got that foundation in place, you won't even notice the person changing on you. And
Mhm.
then that's when it'll be too late, because it's like they changed up. Now they're going in a different part, they're going in a different direction, and it's just like, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So then you have to make that decision as to whether or not you're going to try to work it out. If it's something that can be worked on, or if it's something that it can't be worked on. You know, personally, I found it makes a lot of difference. Well, it makes a big difference if you do not know who you are yet, and
Mhm.
you're out here trying to pair off with someone else. When you're still developing yourself and you're still trying to figure out what your purpose is and who you really are, and you go
Mhm.
out there and you go and pick somebody to be in a relationship with or get married to, when you're still trying to figure that out, then all bets are off at that point because they don't tell them what can happen in a year or two, or 10 to 15
Mhm.
or 20 years later when you finally figure out who you are. Because I've seen people be married for 20 years to a stranger. And then that's why they're getting divorces because they don't recognize each other anymore. It's like, well, did you ever recognize them in the first place? What was
Right.
your foundation like? What was your level of communication? What was your level of intimacy? Did you not pay attention to the subtle hints that was changing? Or did you just
Mhm.
think everything was okay? You know? So I think it really goes back to the connection that you have with the person. And I don't mean just on a physical connection. I mean on a mental connection, on an emotional connection, on a spiritual connection. I think people are too quick to get into relationships and marriages before they know who they are, and then they picking somebody who's in the same position. I'm sorry, the same predicament. They don't know who they are either. But
Mhm.
y'all about to make this life together, though. You about to start having
Mhm.
kids together, living together, all that stuff, and you still
Right.
trying to figure out who you are. So
Mhm.
so inevitably there will be some changes, and you will grow apart because you wasn't ready yet.
Right.
But society puts that pressure on you to get married so quickly and to have a family, and like they're trying to repopulate the world or something. It's like slow down. Slow it down some. Why y'all in such a rush to get out here and get married and booed up and all this other stuff? You
Right.
know, because they don't have to deal with the long term. You do. It's
Mhm.
your life. why are you living your life according to what somebody else has to say about it? Like, why are you worried about when your parents were like, well, how come you ain't married yet? How come you ain't got no kids? This is like, it's my life, not yours. You know?
Right. It,
So
right.
we have to finish developing ourselves first before we truly ready to go try to find somebody. Sadly, a lot of people haven't even started the journey of discovering themselves or working on themselves. And they're out here running around trying to get booed up. And they wonder why all their relationships fail. That's why.
Hmm.
You're not ready for it yet. Even though you
Right.
think you're ready, but you gotta really look at it. Like, are you really ready for a relationship? Are you really ready to work every day for it unselfishly? Or are you still looking for somebody to pick up the slack, because you still hurt from the past? You still bitter, you still angry. Everything out your mouth and everything that you think about is negativity when it comes to love and relationships or people. You don't
That part.
trust people. You know what I mean? I don't understand how you run around talking about you don't trust people, but yet you think you're gonna meet the one. Like, how's the one gonna want to deal with you when you don't even trust them? Man or woman. I don't understand this mindset that people have where you thinking to the left, but then your actions are going to the right, and then you wonder why
Mhm.
stuff don't ever work. I said that's why.
Right.
It's pretty simple when you look at it, but that's something that we have to work on because that's not taught in our society. Um, Making sure that you're straight before you
Hmm.
start doing other things. You know what I mean? Just like you got
Right.
to go to, got to get out of high school before you can go to college. Same thing. Certain steps of development that you have to go through before you really ready to find that one and make a go at it. But
Hmm.
if you don't try to make sure that you're good, hey, you just playing Russian roulette.
Pretty much. Pretty
Like you're
much.
doing.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Soul with Ruby and James. We are discussing growing apart. There is a such thing as growing apart. People can definitely grow apart in any relationship, doesn't matter how long you've been together, or anything like that. Now, James, you did mention, what society wants us to think or society's opinion and what's going on. But sometimes I feel like that people think there's no such thing as a couple growing apart because of what society portrays relationships and so-called true love, is supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And it's just like, no, growing apart is pretty much why most relationships probably don't last as long as you want them to anyway. It's not just like you grow apart like um, it's something simple. Growing apart can encompass a number of different things. It could encompass you like you said earlier, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to open a business and you don't. I want kids, you don't. I want to move to this state, you don't, or I want to go this way, you want to go that way. I want to get another car. I don't want to get another car. I want to get a job and that makes more money. And no, I think we're fine where we are. It's just a number of different factors that goes into growing apart. It's not just you start the relationship one way, and it's like that for the rest of the relationship, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, now we're different. No, when you are in a relationship and things start and you start to grow apart, it's not an all of a sudden thing. It's a gradual thing. And gradual means it gets at the beginning when it first starts happening, if you don't speak up or say anything about it then each time it happens, this issue just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And then it's just like, then it all of a sudden hits you one day like, wait a minute, he's not the same person or she's not the same person. But we don't understand how that happened. We don't realize how that happened. You weren't paying attention. That's what it was. Y'all wasn't
Yeah, I was
paying
going.
attention. Y'all weren't communicating. Y'all basically got in this routine of life. Well, actually, I can't even. No, I say that. That's life. Y'all were not living. Y'all were just having a life together because y'all got in this mundane routine of going to work, raising the kids, cooking dinner, going to sleep, going to work, raising kids, and all of these things. And it's just like, how often did you all take out time to actually communicate? communicate with the kids, communicate without the kids, actually spend time together, actually ask thought-provoking questions, not just what do you want for dinner? Would you want to hang out today? Um, you know, you're not asking questions for you to actually learn something about this person. Questions that involve some type of substance. And that's probably why I'm single now. Not to say that the people that I talk to don't talk about anything, but it's just I know me personally, I need to talk about things that are much deeper than, some of the stuff I've been talking about, with people. Not to say that they're bad people or anything like that. I ain't saying that about y'all just in case somebody might be watching and be like, oh, I ain't deep enough for her. That's not what it is. But
I
but I'm
mean,
just saying,
that's the truth, though.
right. It's just like, why are we having these shallow conversations, but then we don't understand that we grow apart. Maybe you grew apart because you never took the time to grow together.
Bingo. I was going to say that's what it is. We don't take the time to get to know a person before we start dating them.
Right.
Everybody's in such a rush to exchange phone numbers and go out on a date. Yeah, I see a lot of women complaining about how men don't want to take them on a date, a first date. They want to do the
Mm-hmm.
whole Netflix and chill thing. So they upset because the dudes don't want to take them out nowhere. Then I see the guys complaining, talking about, well, they don't want to take a woman out because they feel like they're being used for their money, for a free meal, and they're trying to get as much as they can without having to actually go on the date with them. And I'm just like, y'all can alleviate a lot of that if you just took the time to have a conversation with each other. That's once again, that's something that society did not teach people when it comes to dating. It's more than just going on a date. I'm trying to understand why so many people think going on a date and sitting across from somebody at the dinner table is an effective way of getting to know a person. Someone
Mm-hmm.
you just physically met, really, you haven't spent no time together other than the time when you met and you exchanged phone numbers. You haven't had any deep conversations. You haven't had any real conversation other than small talk. Now you just sat there and got all dressed up, smelling nice, looking nice, and you sitting across from the dinner table or you at a bar tossing about drinks. And it's like, do you really think that person's gonna really reveal who they are while you're on this date? Hell to the no. No, they're not going to. You're not even going to find out, a third or a fourth of the information you need to know on the date. You know why? Because they're too busy trying to make sure there ain't no food in their teeth. They're trying to make sure that their hair's in
Right.
place. They're trying to make sure that their breath ain't bad. So when you try to lean over and give that little sneak kiss, you'll be like, ugh. You know what I mean? He up there trying to pretend that he got money like that when he know he don't. You know what I mean? We put too much pressure on the first date to be the qualifier as to whether or not you want to go on a second date. And I think that's just
Yes.
dumb as hell because you didn't learn anything. You spend more time going on bad dates than good dates. And you know why? Because you're dating people at random. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with meeting a person and exchanging phone numbers, but how about you take some time to have a conversation? And if you don't want to do it over the phone, y'all can meet up someplace. Meet someplace informal. Go to the park. Go to the mall, library, you know, someplace
Right.
neutral ground, and just talk for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Just talk, communicate, learn about the person more than what you see, because that's the person you got to deal with. It's the person that's underneath all of that, not the one you see. And if
Mm-hmm.
you took the time just to have a conversation and talk about some things that's relevant to you, you may find that this person is not somebody you even want to date. And then it's no harm, no foul. The only thing you was out of was maybe, 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour of your time, and that's it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
better to do that than to sit there and rush out to go on the date to find out that this person's an a-hole, self-absorbed, can't
Right.
communicate, on some other stuff. Now you mad. I said, be mad at yourself. You've been doing this for how long? 15, 20 years now? Maybe more, maybe less. And you haven't figured out that just because somebody gives you their phone number does not mean y'all supposed to end up together. Because that's the
Yes.
mindset that they have. It seems like because I exchanged phone numbers with you, somehow we are destined to be together. It won't special. You was just a cute girl that said yes when I said, "Hey, how you doing?" That's it. You know what I mean? You can't force a connection to happen. And just because when you meet them and they turn you on, don't mean they want either. That's just physical attraction. That don't mean that has nothing to do with anything. But yet people
Mm-hmm.
use that as a way to qualify a person for dating or for being in a relationship with them. And then when you don't know who you're dealing with, and then it's years later, and y'all are really grown apart, you trying to figure out what happened. Well, it's because you never knew him in the first place.
Right.
All you did was go on dates, have sex, and have fun. Now you're in a relationship. You don't know nothing about him. And then and then a lot of people I've seen them identify somebody that they want to be with, and they make it up in their mind that this is who I'm going to be with, regardless of all the information they find out after the fact that tells them to run. They're gonna stay because I made this
Mm-hmm.
commitment to be in this thing, and or this is the person I want to be with. I don't care. I'm gonna fight for him. I'm like, what? He got somebody stalking him, and you still want to be with him? She got somebody stalking her. You still want to be with her? You gonna fight some strange person you ain't never met for a woman that you don't know nothing about because she cute? Okay. I'm trying to tell you, I've heard all kinds of stories. I just be shaking my head like,
Mm-hmm.
is your fear of being alone that strong that you'll just take whatever comes your way? Are you
Yes.
that afraid to be by yourself that that's what keeps you from asking those relevant questions because you don't want to scare this person off because you don't think you're gonna meet somebody else that has the qualifications? I'm like, that's the whole part of qualifying people is finding out who
Right.
they really are. Because I mean, I'm 44. I'm way past the age of just going out just for the hell of it, just because you fine. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not gonna waste my time anymore just because you want to, because you think going out to Ruth Chris or something like that is hot. You know what I mean? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going on a date to impress you with my ability to order whatever I want off the menu or whatever. No, I'm just gonna be myself. And if me trying to engage you in conversation is a turn off because you rather talk over dinner, then you have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I got no problem with that. You know what I mean? Because I've already been through that process over and over and over again. I already know what's gonna happen, not a damn thing.
Right.
So, you know, that will help me when I do get into my next relationship and how it's going to flow because I'm going to take the time to get to know the person for who they really are. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
that we're compatible character wise, not just physically, but character wise. Because
Right.
I know if she's an effective communicator and we have other things that are in common, well, not in common, if we have other things that are compatible, it's going to help us be able to last a hell of a lot longer than someone who just dealing with a person because you got things in common. Things in common is not a reason to date somebody either. Just because you both like to go bowling at midnight does not mean you're supposed to date and be together. That's not compatibility. That's just having things in common. And I think we need to
Right.
make a distinguish the difference between having something in common with a person and actually being compatible to each other for a relationship purpose, because that's two different things.
Right.
So when you learn how to do that, that's going to help you from growing apart because you'll keep the lines of communication open. You'll pick someone that's in the same headspace. You know, if you know you want to do more than just have a 9 to 5 job, you want to open up your own business, you know, whatever it is, it's best to pick someone that has the same type of idea as well, or at least
Mm-hmm.
somebody who can support you while you do that, so you
Right.
don't grow apart. You know what I mean? You got to lay that foundation and build it strong. But if we don't put the time in to build the foundation, then that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna grow apart.
You're absolutely right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Soul with Ruby and James. We are discussing growing apart. Um, we have these discussions every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Facebook Live. So make sure you join, you join in with us next time. If you missed the first, few episodes, I'll share those videos. You just go down. Well, I'm not gonna tell you to go down my timeline because I post a lot, and you'll be scrolling for a long time. But I will share the video links, and if you happen to catch them, then catch them. But one thing with us discussing growing apart, and James, you mentioned it earlier about just because we got something in common, that don't mean we supposed to be together. And it's just like I was responding to a question somewhere on Facebook. It's been a while ago, but out in responding to the question is that we are out here so focused on wanting to be in a relationship and meeting somebody, it's just like, why do we always have to look at somebody from the potentiality of them being a partner as opposed to just being friends, just being friendly, just meeting people and just hanging out and just having fun without always having in the back of our head, is he the one? Is she the one? Is this somebody that I can spend my life with? Is this somebody that I'm compatible with? And it's just like we can't even just hanging out and meet people and have a good time without having the pressure of trying to find somebody or connect with somebody in such a way that it leads to a relationship. And I'm like, first of all, didn't nobody tell us that that's how we had to approach dating or that's how we had to approach finding a mate? It's just like, no, we know that a foundation is a good foundation for a relationship is grounded in friendship. Somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you can connect with, somebody that you can have genuine and meaningful conversation with and actually get to know them. But y'all too busy looking at booties and looking at beards and muscles. And now, look, I will say I do like, a nice looking, some tattoos, some muscles and beards. Hey, I'm a look. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna look. But just because he has all of those things does not mean he's the one for me. No, he just gonna get a look, and that's probably gonna be about it. But just because I see this, it does not automatically in my mind say, "Ooh, could he be the one? Could this be somebody that I can date? Can this be somebody that I can talk to?" It's just like, um, he's nice looking, but that's pretty much it. If he happened to inbox me, because I will say I have had that to happen. If I'm going through my timeline, I'm like, just looking, scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, oh, he's nice looking. And I keep scrolling. A few days later, he in my inbox. Like, hey, it's not like he's trying to holler or anything, but it's just that, he actually comes in my inbox like, hey, how you doing? And I will say, in most cases, you guys are really, gentlemanly about it. You're really respectful. I'm not the type to put nobody on blast, but if you come in my box crazy, I will leave you on red. I will say that. But luckily, I haven't really had to do that. But it's just like, even if they hit me up in the inbox, I'm not automatically like, why he trying to holler at me? It's just like, no, this is just an opportunity for us to connect. And who knows, it may have taken everything in him just to get up the nerve to send me a message in my inbox, you know? And it's just like, who am I to look at you lesser of a person or pretty much not good enough for me to consider to be in a relationship with? First of all, I don't even want to have them thoughts. It's just like, oh, he's a cool guy. We can, talk a little bit. And then when you get to the point and say, well, I'm interested, then that's when I'm like, well, let me keep this in mind. I'm still gonna, control the flow of the conversation that's comfortable for me because I'm the woman in the situation. But it's not like automatically when he first comes to my inbox, I'm looking at him like, why is he trying to holler at me? Are we compatible? Can we be life partners? No, it's just like, this is a cool connect and let's be friends. Let's start there first. And that's how it is for me. I mean, I'm sure when you meet people, you're not always trying to analyze whether or not she could be the one or anything like that. You're just genuinely trying to connect with them, right? I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a time when it was just what it was when I was in the inbox and trying to holler. I ain't gonna front. I mean, because we are men, we are hunters. That's what we do. It's a different situation for women, of course. But I've learned over the years that to not do that because you never
Mm-hmm.
know why a person comes into your life. And when you try to make everything about trying to find somebody to be with, you miss out on a lot of good people that could have just been on a friend level, that could have
Right.
taught you something, that could have put you on to something. Because the first thing you're trying to do is figure out how to get in their panties,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to outgrow that and realize that people bring more worth to them than that, particularly women. you know. Um, I mean, even if with myself now, I've had, when I reached out to people in the inbox, I'm sure if the person they thought to themselves was either I'm trying to either sell them something or I'm trying to
Mhm.
holler. And I'd be like, all I said was, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" And now all of a sudden, I'm trying to holler at you. I'm just like, you're not even my type. You're not even local to me. Why the hell you think I'm trying to holler at you? Because I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Now, if I had said, "Hey, how you doing? My name is James. I'm trying to get to know you better," then I can understand them feeling that way. But if all I
Mhm.
said was, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" I'm just being friendly. I'm just sparking up conversation. That doesn't mean I'm trying to get at you. But we have not been taught that it's okay just to be friends with a person. Everything
Mhm.
it always has to be. Trying to think how to say this. It could be an issue when we say date with intentions
Mhm.
because we kind of put that in the air, saying that every time I go to on a date, it's got to be intentional. It has to
Mhm.
be going towards something. But the problem with that mindset is not everybody you date is meant to go anywhere. Some
Mhm.
people are just there for that one time experience or a few times experience. It doesn't mean that y'all are destined to be together.
Mhm.
So we have to learn how to take that pressure off and just enjoy the moment for what it is. Don't
Mhm.
overthink it. Don't create something there that's nothing there. Just enjoy the moment, you know?
Mhm.
Build the friendship, build the relationship. Because you may find this person may not need you in their life to be their boo. They may need you to be their friend.
Right.
They may
Exactly.
need you to be that confidant real quick. You know what I mean? You never know what your role is in someone's life. So
Mhm.
we have to learn how to take that whole pressure off of ourselves when it comes to meeting people and particularly in dating or whatever reason, not always be expecting that it has to go in this direction because sometimes it ain't about that. It's just, hey, how you doing? And that's it.
Right.
You know, because I've had women, come into my inbox, which is rare, and try to get at me, and I just be like, I'm not trying to do all that right now. I'm good with who I am. I'm good where I'm at, but if we can talk, be friends or something, that's it. But other than that, nah, I'm good, you know.
Mhm.
That's because I spent so much time trying to be intentful with everything that I did, trying to chase, something that I thought I had to have. It was just like, no, you don't have to have it. Find it in yourself first. Be okay with you first. Work on yourself because then you have a better chance of attracting the right person into your life. And I've learned that being friends with a person first can help you head off a lot of bull crap and drama.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because if you ever notice when you're trying to be friends with a person, you're more willing to expose who you truly are to them versus someone you're trying to date. People tend to
Yep.
want to hold back and pretend, well, not so much pretend. They like to hold stuff back to the person that they think um they don't want to tell them too much or show them too much about themselves because they're going to be like, oh
Mm-hmm.
hell no, I ain't trying to mess with you. You know what I mean? So we have to kind of get over that and just be ourselves, be okay with being ourselves. Then we have a better opportunity of attracting someone that's really into us versus trying to force a situation.
Right.
Um, cause like you say, every time a dude come in your inbox, will always mean he trying to holler. He may just being friendly with you. You
Right.
might have said something that resonates with him, and he wants to give you your props. So what I mean, I've had women do that too. So if we just take that expectation off of it and just learn how to build relationships, things would be a hell of a lot better for us. I'm learning that now that it's all about building relationships.
Right. And it's not always building intimate relationships. It's just building relationships, period. And
Yeah,
I kind of think that's why we have such a problem with connecting with people. Me, I always say never attached, always connected. Because we feel like it again, it goes back to us always wanting to find some way to, when we meet somebody, connected with some type of intimate relationship. Could he be the one? Could she be the one? and then we start looking for reasons to become attached. Like,
Right.
oh, he sends me messages every morning that says good morning, beautiful. You shouldn't be getting attached because of that. That's if he genuinely thinks you're beautiful, he's supposed to send you, something to say, "Hey, beautiful, how you doing?" I'm not gonna say, I'm not knocking anybody that does it, and I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen often, but that's like the bare minimum of what should be happening. And it's just like, just because he says that, you shouldn't put him on a pedestal. Or just because she asked you, did you eat today? You shouldn't put her on a pedestal. I mean, even if I'm not trying to be in a relationship with you and I still think you're attractive, then I might say, hey, handsome. That don't mean I'm trying to be with you.
Yeah.
Now I do say that to, guys that I might be interested in, but I'm just saying, don't take it out of context based on where your mindset is or what you
Right.
think it is. But
Right.
but then at the same time, it's just like, and we did have a comment. Let me read the comment real quick from Everton. He said, that's funny how you say that's when Willow Smith and friends were schooling Jada that most hookups go down in the DM. No, not in mine. um, it's a millennial thing, but I think it's the passage generations in this day and age because people are finding it harder to socialize. Honestly, I don't think people should find it harder to socialize. Socialize is one of the first things you learn how to do if you have to communicate with people, pretty much. I mean, nobody comes out of the womb with a cell phone in their hand, and it's just like, where people are saying it's hard to socialize. It's not hard to socialize. It's more of a choice that people don't want to do it because they're afraid, like James said, of being themselves. Because you always out here trying to find a relationship. Stop trying to focus so much on a relationship because, um, like James said, everybody that you meet is not somebody that you need to have a relationship with. Some people you're just supposed to be friends with, and that's all. And if you really think about it, pretty much you only going you have it's a small percentage of people that you're gonna be in a relationship with versus the amount of people that you're gonna be friends with. Why
For
are
the
you so
ones that try
focused
to
on this
holler at you.
small? Right. But I'm just saying the number of people that you're gonna be in a relationship is so small versus the number of people that you're gonna be friends with. It's just like, okay, focus on being friends and then filter those friends out into this relationship funnel. We do it the wrong way. We try to be in a relationship first, and then if they ain't quite what we want, then we friend zone them. That's backwards in my opinion. That's backwards. But um, then we wonder why we grow apart. But James, you was doing good. We lost you, but I know he's gonna be back. He actually did good. He went a long time before he got. Uh, you said we have to learn to be comfortable in our own skin when interacting with the opposite sex. True, we do. Um, Don says my mother used to have legit friends and some were men, and when I think about those times and now we're not building relationships like 3 decades ago, and that bothers me. Yeah, and thank you. I try to get the afro right tonight, but yeah, we don't focus on building genuine relationships, and then that's how we end up growing apart when we that we can connect with, then or we attach ourselves to, and then when it doesn't quite work out, then it's just like, yeah, if you want to talk about some of the millennials, I know people that's beyond millennial age, but they get on social media talking about each other and date other people, and then they end up back together and all this extra kind of stuff. And it's just like, why? Why? Y'all
But
grew
you know
apart.
what?
Apart.
It's not just millennials though. It's people love to people love to put the millennials on
Millennials.
blast, but it's not the millennials. It's people my
Exactly.
age that's doing that foolishness because they lack the ability to communicate. They don't know how to build relationships. They know how to get into a relationship, but they don't know how to build an actual relationship. Like you got all these people
Not at
worried
all.
about how much money you got in your credit score. You more worried about that than the damn character. Cause what good is it meeting somebody that's attractive and got a great credit score and a house and a car and everything else, if they're a complete and total asshole? You know, if they don't treat you the way you want to be treated, they don't respect you, they don't love you. What was the purpose of you looking for all of that? We have to
Right.
stop looking at people only from the standpoint of what they can do for us and how turned on we get when we see them, because that's messing us up. That's not who a person truly is. But until you
Right.
understand that for yourself, you're going to keep chasing around and ending up in the same type of relationships over and over and over again. And it don't matter if you
Mm-hmm.
start dating outside your race or species or whatever the hell you want to call it. If you still don't know how to discern who is a compatible mate for you, it really does not matter. That's my whole thing of why I be trying to get people to understand with my posts is that it's all about the compatibility. Compatibility, compatibility. Chemistry is great for science
Mm-hmm.
projects, but not for relationships. Opposites, they always talking about how opposites attract. That's for a damn magnet, not for relationships. Y'all have to have some similar characteristics, some similar goals to make it long term, or you're just gonna be in a relationship by yourself.
Yep, you're gonna be by yourself,
Better than
for
that,
yourself,
you
by
know.
yourself.
And I say this because it's the majority of the people are having the same results, the same bull crap over and over again. But yet they keep trying over and over again, but they don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
There's that word again. You got to change. This is not 2000. It's 2018. This is not the 1970s or the 80s or the 70s or the 60s. It's
I know
totally
I got an
different.
afro, but this ain't the 70s.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Things have changed, but the roles in a household have changed. The dynamics between men and women have changed. Everybody wants everything to stay the same, but it can't stay the same. It's not the same atmosphere. It's not the same environment. We're not the same type of people.
Right.
But those traditions have to also be adjusted for what's going on now because it's not working. It's not
Not
working.
at all.
Those
Not at all.
traditions came about when it was that time. That's not what's going on right now. We're finding out a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Yeah, we're finding out that a lot of these so-called long-term couples went through pure hell to be together and to stay together. I mean, I've heard so many stories from people that have been married for 30, 40, and 50 years, the cheating that's gone on, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, but they decide to
Yes.
stay together and honor the commitment, even though marriage was pure hell. And I'm like, I'd be damned if I'm gonna spend 20, 30 years with somebody and every day is hell. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Just because we said I do,
Right.
no, I can't do that.
I don't no
I
more.
can't do it.
I don't.
I can't do it. And
Right.
and so that's also a part of what we've seen as well is not knowing the truth about relationships, the truth about marriages, and the truth about what's really required to make them work. I mean, it's not rocket science. It really is. Well, it really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science. I mean, you have two people that have similar goals that decide they want to be together and occupy the same space. Both parties have to work equally to make it work. Too often, you got one person doing more work than the other. And it's funny how they try to say sometimes one person will do more than the other at different times. But at the end of the day, you both have to put in 100% of the effort and time to make this work. If you don't do that,
Right.
then you don't deserve to be in a good relationship because you're never going to be able to sustain it. So,
True. True. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Soul to Soul with Ruby and James, and we are talking about growing apart. Um, thank you for all of that. What was I gonna say? With yeah, with those, long-term relationships, the 20, 30 years of marriage, and it's just like even within those long-term marriages, they grew apart. They were still married, but trust me, they grew apart at some particular point in time. They may not have expressed to everybody else that they grew apart, that they became different people, that they wanted to do different things and go in different directions, all for, trying to save face in this marriage, trying to be, trying to look like this unit for the children, for whoever else out here, saying, oh, they marriage, not all of that. Basically just putting up a front. And trust me, we're not talking about the people who were actively working to save their marriage or make their marriage last or anything like that. But it's just like, come on now. It's getting to the point where, like he said, we're realizing that these long-term relationships, they basically behind closed doors, it was like a completely different life. Not saying that's everybody, because there are some successful 20, 30, 50, 60, 70-year marriages that were pure bliss, that were pure happiness. We not talking about those. We talking about the ones that were not. But growing apart is a real thing. And I think sometimes we think that growing apart isn't possible because of these long-term, so-called long-term marriages that were not happy ones. They was like, how do you grow apart? You're supposed to work towards your marriage. You're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to still married. Stay married because you took those vows before the church. You took those vows before God, and all of this other kind of stuff. That ain't gonna be me. I'm with James. If I'm not finna be going through a life of somebody. I'm not finna spend my life with somebody that I'm not happy with just for the sake of saying I'm trying to keep these vows I made. No, it's just like, you know what? This ain't got nothing to do with everybody else. It's between me and you. James, if it was me and you, I love you. I want the best for you, but you need to go over there and I'm gonna go over here. We can still be friends, we can still be cool, but ain't no point in us torturing each other in no marriage.
Nope.
No, no. And it's just like, I think because of those marriages and putting up fronts, people think, growing apart is not a real thing. Yes, it's a real thing. It is a real thing. And it's not, and like we said earlier, it doesn't just happen in intimate relationships. It happens in all relationships. That's why y'all not friends with some of the people y'all were friends in Little League with.
Yep.
Because y'all grew up. Y'all changed. Y'all grew apart. Y'all went separate ways. That's why some of your college buddies, y'all not kicking it like that no more.
Yep.
And it's just like,
That's
clearly
life.
you have exes. And if you have exes, what does that tell you? Duh. Um, Everton says, I agree, things aren't the same because men and women keep asking for the same old things in the same old ways and neglect the fact that they are not in a space and time that supports what it is they wish for. Thank you for that. Like, people are afraid to be alone or move on, and it's very sad. It, I have to tell people there's a difference between, Jane, stop typing.
So that gave me an inspiration for a post. You know how I do. I had to put that down real quick before I forget it.
There's a difference between attachment and connection, and most of us basically build attachments.
Yeah.
James, you want to talk about that next time?
What,
Next Thursday?
attachments?
Attachments and connections?
We can.
Sure.
Actually, it was another topic that I wanted to talk about. It just
Okay,
hit
well, what is
it.
it?
It just hit me. The roles of men and women, the gender roles.
But
That
we will definitely
yeah,
be talking about that next Thursday. Gender roles.
yeah. Because I saw a
It is.
video about that the couple on Facebook that has
Mm-hmm.
a series that they do where they talk with other couples about stuff, and they had a really interesting video about how the gender roles have changed now, and how couples are now figuring out for themselves what works best for them, not what worked best for
Mm-hmm.
their parents. That was
Right.
their
Exactly.
relationship. This is my relationship. and they're learning that it doesn't look like what their parents had. But then we turn around and we force the traditions that our parents had onto us,
Mm-hmm.
not realizing this is two different generations that's going through this. It's two different times. I know I'm not saying we should take all traditions and throw them out the window, but
Right.
we do have to have that conversation because things have changed. The roles have
They
reversed
should
in a
have.
lot of the ways, and we have to deal with that. And the only way you can deal with it is to have a conversation about it. So, yeah, that's all.
Well, okay. That's what we will be talking about next Thursday. Gender roles.
Yeah,
India says, I believe that in a marriage you will grow apart at times. However, if your communication strong, the person that is not in the season of growth will have insight as to what changes in their partner is making and choose to grow with them. Yep, India, we definitely said that at the beginning with growing apart. You definitely have to communicate,
communicate.
effectively communicate. If you're not the one changing, but you notice the changes, you definitely have to be the one to speak up and ask questions and be like, hey, what's going on? You know, you used to come in the house and put your shoes off at the door. Now you walking through the house with them on. What's going on?
And ask the
You
question,
know,
how can I support you? What can I do? I may not be ready to grow like you're growing, but I can still support you. What do you need from me?
mm-hmm.
That's all you got to do.
Exactly.
Communication is key. If you can't communicate, then you have nothing. There's nothing you can do in a relationship or a marriage without communication. I mean, that's what it is. It's not
Exactly.
about the love. It's not about the respect. It's not about the sex. It's not about the money. It's about communication. Because if you can
Right.
communicate your needs and your wants and your issues, y'all can work through damn near anything and make it work.
Exactly. Like it don't matter how much love you got, y'all can love each other all day, but if y'all ain't talking, it's a problem.
That's a
Y'all
problem.
can spend money all day, but if y'all ain't talking, it's a problem.
It's a problem. Yep.
So it's effective communication. But James, I think I've taken up a good amount of your time, and I'm so glad. Let's give it a hand for your connection. I don't know what you figured out, but
I
I'm glad you figured it out.
know, right? I was like, wow, almost a whole hour. I said, wow, figured it out. So,
I'm
yeah.
glad you figured it out, and we were glad to have you this whole time. Like, really? But this is Soul to Soul with Ruby and James. We will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find me online at www.thegoddessgrind.com, on Instagram at Ruby the Artistry. I'm also live on Sunday and with Allison for Soul Sunday. We will be live this Sunday with Tara for Soul Therapy Radio, and we lost James. Let me give us his contact information of where we can find him. Yeah. Yeah, but even if it kicked him off at the end, it's okay. He was here most of the time. Y'all should have seen the first 2 weeks. Woo. First 2 weeks was the doozy. But you can find me on Instagram at Ruby the Artistry or either Soul Therapy Radio. James, I don't know what happened, but if you can, I was waiting to see if I
at,
can
le-
bring you
at least it waited till it was done to do all this foolishness. At
Yes, but go
least it
ahead and
waited.
tell everyone where we can find you. Oh, one last, and on YouTube, search Ruby Davidson, RubiDavidson, to watch past episodes of all of my other live videos. And James, where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Soulful Archer, as well as Instagram as well. If you want information in regards to our coaching program, you can go to www.therichway.life.
And there you have it. Thank you, everybody. If you're just now tuning in, you missed a great show, but don't worry. It's a live video. You can go back and catch the replay because we about to go. But If you happen to catch it on the replay, don't forget to comment your name, where you're watching from, so we can thank you for tuning in. But we will see you all next Thursday, where we will be discussing gender roles now compared to the gender roles of our parents and grandparents and whatnot. But we will see you all next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye bye.
Have a good night.